Welcome to Mattress Talk TV. I'm your host Phil Dameron, and today we're talking about foam rubber, or latex as it's called. Foam rubber was the original foam. Back in the 30s, 40s, 50s, even the 60s, if you wanted a foam mattress, this is what you bought. Now foam rubber, or latex, is actually milk tapped out of a rubber tree. All the plantations are in Malaysia. They tap it, barrel it, ship it to the US, and then it gets processed. Now in the day, this is what it looks like. It still looks like this today. You might notice some holes in here. This is called a pin core. It's just kind of a process. It's how they're made. There's several schools of thought. The original latexes were made with a process called Dunlop. What they would do is they would take the rubber, process it, and pour it in molds. Then they'd bake these molds, and you'd get a foam core like this here. It's the way they did it for years and years. The problem is the heavier particles of latex would kind of drift down to the bottom of this mold before it got heated up and took a set. So when they would take the latex out, they'd cut it in layers. They'd have to test the layers to see how firm the latex was. The bottom of the mold would be firmer because the heavier particles fell down there. The upper end of the mold would be softer. So when I was in manufacturing, when you called the plant, you would ask for different poundages, like a 28-pound latex or a 42-pound latex. The 28 would be softer, 42 would be firmer. And that's the way they did it for years. Then they developed a process called tallow, and you'll see this advertised a lot now. It's a very popular form of latex. It's the same rubber, it came out of the same tree. It's just a manufacturing process. The way they do tallow is they take the rubber, they whip it so there's a lot of air into the rubber. It's poured into the mold, and then it's flash frozen. So all the particles are suspended in place. Then they heat it up, and it's baked, and you have your cores. The advantages of that is your core is consistent top to bottom. You don't have firmer on the bottom, softer on top. And it has a more supple, plusher feel. So there's two schools of thought. I see it on the internet all the time. You see a lot of people arguing which is better. Now, old school purists, they like the Dunlop because it actually has more rubber content in it. It just does. But the tallow people are correct. It is more consistent, but it does have more air in it. That's one of the reasons it feels a little fluffier, a little lighter. Both products are very, very durable. You're really not losing anything by going tallow or Dunlop. In fact, tallow is what you see the most of. It's hard to find Dunlop much anymore. But you do hear the arguments. Which do I prefer? I could go either way. My grandmother's on a Dunlop, so what she has, she loves it. It's nothing to argue about. Now, some things that we hear about latex, a lot of customers that I talk to are concerned about allergies. Well, I'm allergic, or what about people that are allergic to latex? My sister-in-law is an ER nurse, and she's allergic to latex. She uses a latex glove, she gets a big rash on her hand. Latex is almost always a contact allergy. I've never heard of it being airborne. Also, on a latex core, it's under fabrics and mattress pads and sheets, so you're very far from it. But the cores themselves, after they process them, they wash the cores. Now, what people are allergic to is a protein. There's a protein in latex that causes this allergic reaction. Those proteins get washed out, at least on the surfaces and on the sides. So your chances of having an allergic reaction to latex is very, very slim. But if you're concerned about it, don't buy it. It's as simple as that. You need to be comfortable with your purchase, and if you're not comfortable, you're not going to sleep. And the last thing you want to do is go to bed and feel itchy and think you've got an allergy. I've been doing this for years. I worked in a factory for years. Of all the employees I've ever had, I've never once had someone that had an allergic reaction to latex. And in all the years I've been selling mattresses, I've never had a customer buy a bed and come back with rashes. So I wouldn't let that be a big hang up. And if it is, just look for something else. Now the advantages with the latex, it's very supple. So if you have pressure point issues, rotator cuff, hip, that type of thing, and are specifically a side sleeper, this is going to mold right to you. It gives you really good support. You can get latex in different firmnesses, so if you need more support, no problem. If you're a back sleeper, you can get that. If you need really, really soft or really bad arthritis, fibromyalgia, those type of things, they make that as well. So latex is super durable. It is a natural product and just has a great feel to it. So when you go out shopping, you might be inclined to look at memory foams because that's a lot of talk right now. Don't forget to look at latex because it is a really good product. Speaking of memory foams, we're going to be talking about that in our next episode, so check back with us. Thanks for watching Mattress Talk TV.